James Peter.
Delicious beverage.
Let's start right out. Hey, what happened?
Yo, check. Yo, check.
Oh.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the program. Brought to you by our friends at Easy Financial, easyautofinancial.ca. Go there today if you're looking for a car. All credit is good. They don't care. Bad credit, good credit, bruised credit, shit credit. They will get you a car and they'll get you financing. You don't have to pay for it. easyautofinancial.ca. Brought to you by our friends over at Ed's Fine Imports, edsfineimports.com. His gits are on my body. Put them on yours. Luxury briefs. H3 is your promo code. Go to edsfineimports.com. And, of course, domination.com is where you go, dmntn.com. If you're a producer of content around this beautiful world and you need some help to save you some time to produce legacy content, you go to dmntn.com. Anyway, welcome in.
Fuck off.
What do we got here?
Who's doing that? I think that's Lachlan.
Sorry, I don't know why. Hold on.
Lachlan's rebroadcasting the broadcast.
Okay.
We just hold
James
it. We just went
that
through
I was
this
on my phone during the podcast, so I'm
Go
trying to be more annoying. That's what's happening. Is it working?
Success accomplished.
Yeah.
You know what it is like because I'm such a tech loser that when we get like feedback or something, I just assume it's me and carry on. Right? So, but it turns out it's you because before we started the program, James is like, Lachlan, can I ask you a question? Why are you always on your phone when we're in the show? And that created a little bit of tension before we started. And,
just a touch.
And then Lachlan's clearly angry. And then what happened is that Ryan and I had to we had to slow everybody down and we had to say, hey guys, don't worry about it. We're on the same team. Let's move forward together. But Lachlan was like, hey, listen, sometimes I get a text from the wife and I got to go do something in the middle of the show.
That's right.
But to Lachlan's credit, he doesn't do what you do, where you will get up several times in the middle of a program, leave, come back with a jar of Nutella, a loaf of bread, and a knife, and or maybe and you'll literally make lunch in the middle of the program.
I think we'd all agree that that's better content than just looking at your phone.
I look at the itinerary of the day, and I'm like, I didn't see the cooking segment today.
Plus, it's a medical condition with me. There's nothing I can do about it.
No, it isn't. You know what it is? You smoke a huge bomber before you go on the thing, and then you get high, and then you're like, yeah, and I need some fucking Nutella now and a sandwich, and I need to be prepped. I know it's true.
Dude, do I even look high to you, man?
Yeah,
you
totally.
Not at all.
Yeah. He eats like a 9-year-old.
Nice to see you guys. Really nice to see you guys.
Nice to see you too.
Speaking of eating, did you guys see this? Oh, by the way, Craig Forrest, the greatest soccer goalie Canada's ever produced. He's going to talk about the Canada-Mexico big World Cup qualifier tonight in Edmonton. Locked, -16. You're there. So we're going to get to him coming up in a bit. We're also going to talk about how to be able to identify Russian bots.
Soccer.
So you can help yourself. Oh, relax. You'll like it. I know you hate it, but you'll like this content. Craig's the best. And he had a little chat with Trudeau, so we're going to talk to him about that. We're also going to talk about IDing Russian bots and stuff like that. We got lots to get to. PK Subban doesn't know how to play hockey anymore, so he's just hurting people. We got video proof of that. But more importantly...
And he's a dick.
I saw this yesterday, and if you want to get us talking, let's talk food.
Oh, my God.
Reese's, or is it Reese? It's Hershey. They own Reese's.
Reese.
They're putting out a 3.5-pound peanut butter cup.
I have Jimmy trying to find out if you can buy that in Canada.
You cannot.
I sent him you can't, son of a
No.
bitch.
Dean did
Dude,
the work. He did the legwork.
Yeah. So I saw that yesterday, and I put out a post, and I'm like, Did you ask how many calories it was?
I thought you were about to say 3,000 calories.
No.
7,000.
No, they made
Oh,
3,000.
the whole pie is only 7,000.
No,
That's
they
not
made
bad. I could.
They
do
made
that.
no. You're again not accurate.
No one even said
Uh,
7.
I don't know the nutritional value of this, and anybody who would eat it wouldn't give two fucks about it, even if they did know the nutritional value about this.
Would you?
Turn me back into my
Would you eat
old
the whole
me.
thing?
No.
Fucking course.
They have hockey
I
puck
could.
sized ones that are almost impossible to eat.
Yeah,
No,
I
they're
can't
not.
get through those.
I've eaten 2 of those in one night. Let me just break this down for everybody. When I saw this thing,
I could.
I tweeted out, I would eat the shit out of this. It has had thousands of views, thousands of replies. And I'm like, I've hit a Reese's peanut butter cup social media fucking nerve.
Yep.
And so I wrote the piece. I'm like, who wouldn't eat this? This is stoner magic. Who wouldn't love 3.5 pounds of chocolate, peanut butter, and all the other stuff? Because that's my go-to. Like if you said to me, Dean, you get to get high one more time, I'm going to shoot you in the head at midnight. But one snack and one snack only. Do you know
Sounds
what
like
I
a
say?
party.
You know what the answer is? The answer to that is it's got to be a fucking Reese's peanut butter cup every single time. So they made 3,000 of these, $44.99 to buy one, all gone already. They were gone within minutes,
Oh, for
legitimately
sure.
minutes, because people like
remember when
me
those-
go, fuck, I want to eat the shit out of that. That's the deal.
Yeah, those
And
hockey puck
by
ones
the-
that you guys were talking about when they first came out, you could barely find them because everybody got so excited about them.
They're all at gas
Now-
stations.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the only place you could find it was at like a Canadian Tire gas bar.
Yeah.
You're right. Better ask this guy if he would eat it too. I think he would. Please welcome Stacks, Mr. Craig Forrest, ladies and gentlemen. Stacks is in the house. Look at him. Look at that old school kit you got behind you too. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's a Centennial shirt that I was given.
As
But
one of
it's,
Canada's best soccer players ever, right? That's why you got it.
Well, that's why I got it. Yeah. It gets a lot of notice. A lot of people are after it. Maybe I should auction it off for charity or something.
Or yourself and take the money.
Charity's
Well,
got
you
lots
know,
of
I
money. Don't worry about them.
How are you, brother? Great to see you.
I'm good, thanks. This has been fun following this national team and what's going on with them and this big media change as well, guys. You know how it works these days and building a brand, and it's an interesting world we live in. That's for sure.
Yeah, no kidding. Change is as good as the rest, as they say. Craig, as you know, played soccer for Team Canada. He was one of the very first soccer players to ever go from Canada to play in the Premier League. He's a buddy of mine. Wonderful man. And he's like, if you follow Craig on Twitter, Craig Forrest 1 on Twitter, if you follow him on Twitter, no one's more excited about Team Canada's soccer team. And I would have thought it would have been the opposite. Like, if I were you, I'd have been like, fuck this. Where was everybody when we were good? Like, what the fuck? Why good? But you're not. You're legitimately the biggest fan of whatever is going on with soccer in this country, which is like, if you're over 40, it's mind-blowing to see, A, that we're a couple of chips away from getting into the World Cup, B, Team Canada's women won the World Cup, and C, last week's game
Olympic,
the Olympic gold. The last week, the game last week against Costa Rica was the biggest show on television all week. It outdrew every hockey game, every basketball game, even curling. Locke, I know you don't like soccer.
Football,
just hang in there.
CFL.
I
mean, that was a bigger draw.
But talk about it. Like, what? How are you processing this after living in the program, being in the program, being like the hope of the program, and now seeing this? How are you processing where Team Canada's men are?
Well, it's interesting you say that because I do throw things around a little bit sometimes and think about the opportunities lost. And, even in 1994, we finished second in CONCACAF. That got us nothing. In 98, there was the first time there was 3 teams in CONCACAF. We blew that, got off to a poor start. And then really ever since then, since the Gold Cup, we have had 5 straight times when we haven't even got into the octagon. So the opportunities there, the 3.5 spots. So remember, after this World Cup, we're going to host the World Cup. We'll be one of the 3 hosts. Most probably we will get an automatic spot. That's always been the case. So I would imagine that will be the case in 26. And beyond that, there's going to be as many as 8 teams in CONCACAF qualify for the World Cup. So I'm saying there's no reason why Canada shouldn't be making the World Cup from here on in after this moment.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason why they can't finish in the automatic 6 in the future, because they're going to expand to 48 teams, the World Cup. I don't think it's great for a spectacle from that standpoint. It'll be a little bit watered down, but it's obviously going to be worth a lot to FIFA and a much bigger tournament, and it's going to allow more teams to participate for sure. And hopefully Canada will be in a position where we can go on and do this on a regular basis. But you also talk about where the program was and where it is today, Dean, and it's a massive difference. When we flew into very important games, we would fly halfway around the world, coach. And I mean, the cheapest flights, like if I had a game in El Salvador, I would go London to Toronto, Toronto to Los Angeles, Houston, Belize, Houston, El Salvador, and play a game. And we're supposed to fucking win. I mean, come on, right? Fly to Sydney, Australia in the plucked up chicken position for I don't know how long, right? And sleeping bills, get off the plane in Sydney and play a game. I mean, now it's their first class, not because of big time, just because of the travel. And if you're going to compete at that highest level, you want your players that you're at the very, very best. And the professionalism has changed massively. And the Canadian Soccer Association started with Victor Montaviani, and bringing a professionalism into the team, as well as decision making being made by the coach himself, like where the games are going to be played, or the decision is made by John Herdman. Not by the association, not just for money reasons, because of maybe technical reasons. And there's a game coming up in January, Vancouver, Toronto. They haven't decided yet, but my bet would be Toronto. Even though it's January, I think, but from logistical situations, travel, it'd be 5 hours less traveling time for the Canadian national team in that cycle. So it's down to John Herdman. So those decisions, I'm glad, are being put in the hands of the people that are the ones that are trying to get us qualified.
Yeah, it's awesome to watch, right? Like you and I were talking about it, and I watched you tweet about it. And what was it, like 5 months ago, where Canada was playing one of these qualifiers a few months ago, and you couldn't find the game on TV. Like it was being streamed or something like that. And I watched you go, can we get it together and put these on TV? And it was almost like, because Soccer Canada has been like this afterthought, right? Like we've never really been that good. The players that were good would often go and play for other countries if they were good enough to play nationally. They didn't have the sponsorship or support. Has that been John Herdman? You mentioned him earlier. You guys interviewed him on Footy Prime, which, by the way, download it and subscribe to Footy Prime. Any major podcast hosting service, doesn't matter which one it is, fucking great. You, James Sharman, Dunlop, and a whole bunch of other cats.
Thank you.
Guys drive the bus. Yeah, you're welcome. I love it. I love listening to it. And the closer we've got, I'm like everybody else, right? Like, I didn't watch any soccer until these guys actually were, oh, fuck, we're good. Like, I got to start watching this stuff. But is it John Herdman? What's been the sea change for you? Like when you see nationally televised game, biggest rated sports event last week was a soccer game. What's the impetus?
Well, there's a few things around that. Now, first of all, good on One Soccer, a media pro, Spanish company, for coming over and investing hard money into the Canadian program in a way that, they're covering the Canadian Premier League. It is an app at the moment. They want to get a channel, which I think they're working on at this particular moment. So good for them for, doing that and supporting, because mainstream media has not done that. And always in the past, our Canadian national team has never been paid for being on TV. Either they pay to be on TV or ad share or whatever. So what had happened with One Soccer was that if these games are coming up and they're massive, it's going to be on an app only, and you have to pay for it, and they have less than 20,000 subs, say. That's just, unacceptable. So they figured out a way that try to make it a way where they went to TSN, they went to Sportsnet, they went to CBC. Who's interested in having it? Nobody was willing to pay for it, but they managed to get it on Sportsnet, one game on TSN, and just simulcast one soccer. They simply don't care about the product. It's more of an arrangement. But as far as they see it, in my money, it's just taking numbers away from a hockey deal, which is $5.2 billion. They're not here to promote soccer. That's just not what they're here to do anymore. We used to, because Sportsnet used to be about building brands, building sports, helping associations, working together. That's what it was about for me. And that has changed completely. And so it's on national TV only because of some arrangements made. But One Soccer also can't be overly happy when you're trying to get people to sign up for an app when the game's now on free television. So it's a real difficult time. It's real difficult. Sports over the years will pay huge money for Premier League champions. They're obviously very, very good. But for us to be good, maybe the support, even in the women's program, kind of successful in spite, you support that team. Well, eventually we're going to be good, but the system doesn't allow it. It goes back to 50, 60 years ago. Hockey is Canada's game. It's apparently the game the other night had hockey jerseys all over the place. There's people that are very curious, which is great, but it's just embedded in the Canadian soul that this is Canada's game, is hockey, not basketball. And we invented that, not lacrosse.
But isn't there I was just curious because I noticed that it was like maybe the late 2000s. There seemed to be an explosion of soccer as a sport. Like the popularity just seemed to explode. And I think a lot of the credit probably goes to how multicultural we are as a country, because there were a lot of first generation Canadians who really love soccer. So they imported that passion. And it felt like, even though I don't know this for certain, that the sport itself became more popular. So I'm wondering why that hasn't translated into a ratings thing. And, if remember the Raptors used to always draft players that were international because they wanted the international TV market to take notice of them and be popular internationally. I don't know if there's a plan or if they have attempted to do that in soccer as well in Canada.
Well, there's I honestly think because of the immigration side of things, it's actually held us back. I think I look at this national team and we have parents born in 5 different African countries, 12 different European countries, 3 or 4 different South American countries. These are parents that are born there. And unfortunately, I don't think first immigration generations have the influence to impact our sport. So it's not the case. We haven't been able to do that. And yes, they have built our sport and they are the strength, our immigration behind the sport quite clearly. But we need support from all of Canada, and those guys certainly deserve it. And it's been difficult to get that support from all of Canada over time.
Are really? Stacks. There was 50,000 people at the game in Edmonton. Like it's all everybody was talking about. I don't know how you can glaze over that. I mean,
well, you're right. You're right.
I mean, there was 1,500 people at the last home game for the Elks.
And that's like 200 in the end zone.
I swear to God, there was 50,000 fucking fans at that game.
That's what I find unbelievable. That you pay for Elks tickets. Mom, but you pay for Elks tickets, but you won't pay to go and see, like, Alphonso Davies is the best soccer player in the world.
I'm not going to go watch soccer, but I know how huge it is. Every fucking kid in this city plays soccer because no one can afford to play hockey anymore. I don't know. I think soccer is way bigger in this country than you might be giving it credit for.
I mean, the participation level is definitely number one, and we know that, but 85% of them are involved in it for a great way, to be having fun, sports education. It's great for everybody. But there is 1 in 3 families in Canada can't even afford to put their kids in sports. And that includes soccer. And unfortunately, even the soccer programs, the academies, Ontario OPD program, if you're playing on the second team, you could be paying as much as $6,000 a year if you're a kid to go to that program. Mm-hmm. So even first generations, and you look at this Canadian team, Alphonso Davies needed help from his teammates, family, and for him to play, even afford Canadian fees. So even though it's the cheapest, it's still unaffordable for many Canadians. So it's a difficult position. The United States is in the same position. Academies and coaching is very expensive in the United States. If you look at the women's team, it's generally all white. And the reason is the whites have influence. They have more money generally. They get to the programs. They get to academies. So that's a problem in the United States alone. I hope it doesn't become one here.
It's sort of the incredible part of this team, right? And this is let me just put this up because it's amazing. This is Alphonso Davies. He was a refugee. He was in a refugee camp in Ghana, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And there are a lot of people that have very similar stories, whether it's their families, extended relatives, or whatnot. But this guy is the best player in the universe. He is the best soccer player in the world, and he came out of a refugee camp in Edmonton and assisted. Look at this guy play.
But why don't I know that already?
This gives me the goosebumps, and we've got, and it's not just him, right? Like, it's not just Alphonso Davies that has had to struggle and make his way to this point. And that's why I think these guys have no fear. And you made mention of it a little bit earlier. I mean, you come from different backgrounds, and you put this up, and I thought this was a great tweet. We're not afraid of anybody because we're everyone. It was in reference to what you just talked about. We got Australia, Canada, Bangladesh, England, Poland, Pakistan, China, South Africa, Algeria, Morocco, Germany, France, Holland, Egypt, Czech Republic, Jamaica, Portugal, First Nations, Netherlands. I mean, we are so well represented because of immigration. So I find it interesting that that it's all starting to come together now. Mm-hmm. And I love these stories too. I love Alphonso Davies' stories.
Oh, it's a fantastic story. And you know what, Edmonton, and it's snow, and it looks like absolute hell there right now, and it's going to be terrible tonight. They deserve Alphonso. They really do. The city do. They've always supported us. Like you say, 50,000. I said that in a tweet as well. I've always found it the home of Canadian soccer, because when we couldn't find support anywhere else, Edmonton was there, and they would show up in their droves to support us with the flag on our back, and that's been great. Now, yeah, we talk about the size of football too. It's also very fragmented, right? Like if you look at the United States, for instance, everybody will say, well, MLS isn't very big. MLS is only whatever, but MLS isn't the biggest league in the United States. The most popular league in the United States is Liga MX in Mexico. They draw numbers that will be equivalent of NHL numbers, and that's Liga MX. Then you have the Premier League, then you have MLS. That's how MLS is the third biggest league in the United States.
So it sounds Canada, like MLS would be the second issue.
Pardon me?
It sounds, sorry to interrupt. I apologize for that. But it sounds like soccer in Canada, since they seem to get a lot of fans when the games are good, since it's the most popular sport as far as youngsters are concerned, but the TV audience suffers. So it's either not entertaining to people, which could be the case for some people when they watch it on TV, or their marketing sucks.
This is what I was
a little bit
ask.
of that. And then you also have. Sorry, guys, you also have how, like I say, fragmented it is. So you have Italian Serie A fans, and they won't watch Premier League, and vice versa. Then you have La Liga, and you have France. We got Jonathan David, leading goal scorer of the French league. Then you got the Turkish league, and you got everybody else. Serbian leagues are playing in, Scottish leagues, everything else. You might have Euro fans. You might have South American fans that are watching Common Ball. Instead of the Euro, just a mismatch. That's
part of the reason.
If we could put it all, if we could put it all freaking together, if we actually all joined forces in a way that we actually all supported ourselves instead of fucking fighting amongst ourselves, we could probably do something. But we do soccer.
I will say this. I will say this too. Like I think the one thing that I've learned from being a parent of a high-end athlete, like I have a ballet dancer in the house, and I can't afford to. I'm still supporting her, and I can't afford to, and we never could. We do okay, but it was painful. We were trying to get bursaries and whatever help we could. But the thing that I find with these sports and with these athletes is if they have the passion, and hope to God they have parents that find a way to make it happen. I still think we live in a world where the cream rises to the top, right?
Yeah.
Like I've joked about not being given a chance to play hockey because I had a single mom. But if we're being honest, I was a horrible fucking athlete. I didn't deserve to be playing hockey. So when I got told at 13 I couldn't play anymore, it was probably a good thing, right?
Yeah.
My daughter was obsessed with dance. It is all she wanted to do. I mean, obsessed. She's 22. She's still obsessed. It is all she wants to do. I've never seen anything like it. And I, you know what? I think there's athletes out there that come from single parents or from refugee parents or whatever the case might be, and they have a kid that is just hyper focused on that one thing, and they become absolutely amazing at it, and they rise to the top. And if they're given a chance in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, or wherever, I think it's still good for any sport, right?
Yeah. I think you're bang on. Absolutely correct. But you think support and of your family have sacrificed an awful lot because of your daughter's passion in that. You have to have that. A lot of families and parents aren't like that, So your daughter's very fortunate.
Wouldn't change it for a million. Like I wouldn't change it at all, right?
No, exactly.
We went out of our way to make sure she got every opportunity, even though
Locke's just trying to tell everybody how much of a good dad he is right now.
No, I'm not. I'm a shitty dad, if we're being honest. But
do you think it's just a matter of the commercializing of soccer catching up to, like, if there's 50,000 people in the stands, there's a demand, and do you think?
Yeah,
do you think it's just because of marketing, like James brought up earlier?
Good,
is it just commercial not catching up to the actual, like they're not seeing the hype, and like the people are just like, well, we're not going to print. Like when you go to a mall, there's football jerseys, there's hockey jerseys. If you want something to do with soccer, you got to find a van on the corner of like Yonge and Eglinton, and in an Esso parking lot with some guy selling illegal flags. If you want anything to do with soccer, like it's not like pro sports, the majors, right? You think it might have something to do with that, or?
Well, when you think about it, there's such a competition for your entertainment dollar in North America. It's a completely different world than it is in the rest of the world, where you've got these major sports that are all pretty successful in their own right. But they're building up their own brand. NFL, NHL, NBA, MLB, it's constant. NFL does it better than anybody in the world. 50 years ago, the NFL wasn't really that much, but over time, when they marketed it well, they do it the best of TV.
They own Sunday. They own a fucking day on the weekend.
Yeah.
And Monday nights.
Right.
Like we need,
they're trying to own Thursday now. Almost.
It's almost like they need to infiltrate. Like the league needs to infiltrate Tim Hortons more. Like they do like the Timbit soccer and stuff, but like the pro stuff, like where it's just where you're so immersed in it that you're brainwashed to like it. You know what I mean? Even though you probably like it if you gave it a chance.
That's absolutely it. Yeah, you are somewhat brainwashed. I mean, Alfonso, most people have never seen him play other than for Canada. They've never seen him play for Bayern Munich. But every 3 nights they're watching Connor McDavid. So growing up, what kind of influence does that have on young athletes that want to play a particular sport? Massive, absolutely massive. So exposure is the issue, and I've always said to the CSA,
look at how fast he is.
You have to. Oh my God, he's lightning. Honestly, they got him at 34, I think, kilometers an hour, or 36, something like that in Germany. Now, I did check on Usain Bolt because I'm like, holy shit. I think Usain Bolt hit 44.
I mean, McDavid skates that fast.
But you watch that goal. Like we're just listener. If you're joining us on the audio version of this podcast, you can see it on YouTube. Dean Blundell Show on YouTube. Dean Blundell TV. We're watching Alphonso Davies' goal from Toronto about a month ago, where he closes, and I think it's like 3 times the distance on a guy going full speed. Like it was just fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
Which is why, like if I'm Lachlan, I'm in Edmonton, I got a chance to go to this game. This guy goes in front of people every weekend at Bayern Munich, and people die to see him play. He comes back to Edmonton. If I'm in Edmonton, I'm not missing this. He's like the Gretzky of soccer, and he came out of nowhere over the past 2 years. Like this is that huge, right?
Which is
sure.
And
Yeah.
Hold on. That was the point I was trying to make.
Right.
People were scrambling to get tickets.
Yeah.
That stadium hasn't been filled for anything. Nothing.
Right.
They don't fill it ever. I think the last time it was filled it was AC/DC was here. Like it's a big stadium. They don't need all those seats.
Oh, they do pretty well with rodeos from time to time in that.
Yeah,
movie.
this summer, best summer
They
ever.
don't do rodeos
Best
in
summer
the
ever.
fucking.
Well,
I mean,
look
right
at-
now,
look
man,
at Major
everybody
League
knows
Soccer.
that kid's name, and everybody was going crazy to go to go see. I got guilted into talking about soccer on my fucking show because of that game.
Exactly.
Craig, what were you going to say? Go ahead.
MLS, look at Toronto FC's run. I mean, it's just a fantastic run. Win the MLS final since day one until actually after the pandemic and all this, and they came back. They've been terrible this year, but since day one, they've been a smash hit in Toronto. Even when they were bad for 5 years, like really bad, I thought one more year and this is just going to go downhill. Somebody's got to get a grip, but they just kept showing up and showing up and showing up. So there's a real appetite, but again, those Toronto FC fans are Toronto FC fans. They may not be MLS fans. They're just Toronto FC fans.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's the segmentation you're talking about, right? Like, and I laughed when you're like, the people that watch La Liga are not going to be watching Premiership games. They got something against each other's countries, but that's the beauty of this game too, in a sense, right? Is how fiercely independent they are. So let's quickly get to the table if we can. So this is CONCACAF qualifying. U.S. is in first place. Mexico's in second. U.S., Canada go at it tonight. 14 points for Mexico, 13 for Canada. Mexico coming off a loss to the United States, I think 2-0. How do you like my soccer knowledge so far, Craig? Pretty good, huh?
Bang on. You're absolutely spot on.
I know. I brushed up. I'm into this. Like I'm invested in this, and I love the fact that we're good at this. But aside from
if you
all the
mention
stories,
aggregate, I'm leaving.
I don't even know what that is yet. Give me a break. I've been working on this like one day at a time. But like
no aggregate in this.
What's left to do for Canada to make it to the World Cup, to qualify? Top 3 from the table qualify in CONCACAF, but we got 13, Panama at 11. Everybody else is pretty much out of it. But what's Canada's road to World Cup qualifying like starting tonight?
Well, I honestly believe if they beat the Mexicans tonight, they will qualify. Certainly guaranteed the top 4. The 4th place team gets a playoff. Against in an intercontinental playoff. Don't know who that would be. It could be New Zealand. It could be Jordan. It's not going to be a top-ranked team. So the 4th place team should also have a very good chance of going through. But
be so Canada for us to actually blow
the way there's nothing.
Stop it.
More Maple Leafs than Canada.
Sorry, Craig. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
You're jinxing them.
What was I even saying? I can't even remember.
The 4th playoff team has to play against some scrubs. That's what you're saying.
Oh, right. That's right. As well as I don't see anybody, since what I've seen in this CONCACAF qualifying after 7 games, there's no team that tells me that they are going to be strong enough to overturn our Canadian team. They're not strong enough. We could argue that we are the best squad in CONCACAF at this moment.
Well, and so let's look at some stats. Goals, Kyle Larin, who I haven't seen play yet, but he's apparently a fucking stud. Jonathan David, Lille, leading scorer in France. Alphonso Davies, needs no introduction. Lucas Cavallini. Like 4 of the top 5 goal scorers are Canadians in CONCACAF. But this is the one that I like. This is the stat I love the most. Yellow cards, we're leading there as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what else?
Is that this team? Are we just tough? Is that our deal? Like we're skilled and tough? You said they're the best team. What makes them the best team? Yeah, melty.
Oh, they're together, and it did surprise me to talk to John Herdman about even previous teams over the last few generations. We were always incredibly tight. I mean, we couldn't win the Gold Cup under the circumstances we did without being a really tight unit. So that's what he had to do, is bring that group together, like really together, and he's done that incredibly well. He's usually the smartest guy in the room. He knows what he's doing, mentally, physically. He's incredibly intelligent, and he's been a bright spark for our program.
Yeah. Oh, I love him. You guys had him on your show, I think, last week, and I listened to the whole interview, and I'm like, fuck, I cannot get enough of anything John Herdman has to say. Like, he was talking about getting involved in the dark arts of pushing and shoving in that one game that we saw a month ago in Toronto, and how he explained it. I'm like, there's some attitude there, but there's this confidence there, right? And I know he put together the women's program, and someone else took it to fruition to win the Olympic Cup. But he's the balls, this guy. Like, I fucking love him.
Me too. And weren't you surprised? I was surprised when I asked him the question, okay, John, you know what the players are thinking before you go into that first camp, right? Mm-hmm. You're coming from a women's program. He's a women's coach. Mm-hmm. It's chatter. They're going to give you a chance, but it's still chatter. You know that's going to go on. How are you leading into that first camp? And he said right out, he says, I was in the fetal position in my couch and I was shitting myself. I was like, holy shit. He's so confident. And yet that was such a human moment and real, because of course he must have been pressure. He knew that first impression was going to be massive, and he was waiting months and months for that. So I can imagine how it was for him. It was probably pretty intense.
I do have some suggestion on how to, I don't know, increase the popularity of the game. Is this string of streakers needs to continue. We had four streakers on Friday. Not only that, a guy got down to his underwear, and the security guards like tackled him full blast. Like,
did you see that tackle?
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah,
it was amazing.
Right over that.
That
was crazy.
Oh, and he dragged.
That made me want to go to a game.
I don't think the Elks were being attacked.
It's like hockey. Yeah.
Actually, he might have been one of the Elks. They need a part-time job.
Oh no, the Elks don't hit anybody like that.
I bought a Hyundai from an Elk.
Literally
off season.
I bought a Hyundai from an Elk. Oh, here's what you're talking about. This is the streaker at last week's Elk game. This is maybe the hardest hit that you'll ever see, by the way. Like, as far as streaker hits go, and there have been some beauties, but this was the most exciting time in Edmonton over the past 2 years, by the way. Watch this.
That's like robbing a guy of a home run. See the way he kept him in bounds? Like, that was a
PK Subban hit. That's what that was.
Top drawer.
We've been trying to get Jimmy to streak a football game for 5+ years, and he won't do it.
You're his good friend.
Well, because he doesn't like showing people his knob. We talked about it yesterday.
Figure out why his mother doesn't like you.
Yeah. And did you notice the players after a few of them? They're like, guys, like fans, stop doing it, because FIFA do look at that quite hard. But that's mostly because in most countries, when they're coming on the field, they're coming on with knives. They're going to hurt you. You know, it's like I'm looking at this thinking, Canada, we can't even be dangerous if we try. Like, I mean, look at the guys. I mean,
you know what that guy had on him? Just a Tim Hortons gift card. That's
just to say a cruller.
Dangerous he was. Yeah.
Exactly.
The cruller.
And the one guy that wanted to go to the bench, the poor guy, he just wanted to say hi to Alfonso. Got rugby tackled.
Did he ever? The shitty part is they didn't show any of it. Like, there was that one thing that they showed, but there was like 4 or 5 other streakers that got dummied as well. Sorry, Locke, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
There was one autistic kid, unfortunately, that didn't know what was going on and ended up. I think that's who you were talking about. He was a young guy, and his parents misplaced him or something, and so he decided to jump the barricade and go. Yeah.
You know what? The dad was probably like, "Don't worry, you're autistic. They'll let you get away with it. Go ahead."
Yeah, exactly. Go on.
Go do it. You can do it. You can do it. They'll never come after you.
Yeah, meanwhile, he's getting rugby.
And if they do, we'll get rich.
That's right. Go on, payday.
Craig, before I let you go, Craig Forrest, the GOAT of Canadian goalkeeping and one of Canada's greatest soccer jewels. You can see the kit behind him. He's one of the best ever. Joins us. Footy Prime is the podcast. He's one of the hosts of it. You can get it anywhere you get your fine podcast. It's awesome. James Sharman, Brendan Dunlop, and the gang, they do an unbelievable job. Danny Dickio. This, and I want to ask you about this because Justin Trudeau, whether you like him or not, addressed the players yesterday because this is a big opportunity for Canada, and he wanted to give them the big rah-rah. And he was in Edmonton.
Now.
There you go. Well, hang on. Before you get there, Craig and Justin had a nice little exchange on Twitter. I was amazed the dude got back to you because you posted this. Maybe the last Canadian PM to be photographed of the Canadians men's team, this picture in London in 87. Look at the fresh-faced Forrest in the back behind PET. Tell me about this. What happened there?
Well, there's two guys on either side of them. John Fitzgerald, he sits courtside at Raptors, and
Fitzy?
Fitzy. That's Fitzy.
That's Fitzy in the red coat, red and white.
That is Fitzy.
Oh my God, he looks like he's 100 years older than he did here. Like you look the same. Fitzy looks terrible.
He thinks he looks pretty good.
No,
and then
what happened here?
Peter Sarantopoulos on the other side. Well, the funny thing is, if you look at Pierre, he looks as though he slept in the fucking gutter. Right?
They just picked him up from an all-night bender.
Yeah.
Well, no.
Gutter, you
we
mean
got a
his
photo
mistress's
op.
house? He probably was.
We're walking around Piccadilly Circus in London, the under-20 team. And Fitzy says, hey, and there was only me, Peter Sarantopoulos, and Fitzy at the time. The other guys came after we kind of located them because we just found Pierre. Fitzy says, hey, look at that guy over there. Doesn't he have... I look over and I'm like, gee, fucking Christ. That is him. Like, there's just no way. So Fitzy goes,
No way.
hey, Pierre. Pierre turns around.
This looks like a... Sorry,
Pierre turns around and we're like, hey, so it is. So we're all like, Pierre, come on over. And he was just like, yeah, hey, guys. Like, and we're like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm like, don't you have any security or anything? Like, nobody knew who he was. There's thousands of people around. It was like a busy, Piccadilly Circus in London.
Yeah.
Like, nuts. Nobody knew who he was.
And
So anyway,
maybe
just
he
out
looks
for-
so
no, go
disheveled
ahead.
because it's his doppelganger, and you just didn't know. And he was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I'll be Pierre, no problem."
Yeah. So go ahead, finish the story. So what was he doing out there?
I don't really know. He never really gave us an answer.
He was whoring.
Something dodgy.
Put it back up, Dean, for a second.
He's trying to pick up chicks. That's what
It looks like when you see a photo from like the police when they rescue like an Alzheimer's patient from like 3 days in the woods.
Oh, that's right.
It looks like the crew that got him.
Yeah,
It's like,
he
hey,
wasn't going
we
anywhere.
found him and he's in good shape, guys. He's okay. He's gonna be fine. We found his
Dad's
wife.
missing.
That's right. He looks a little
He
bit
left.
pinned, doesn't he?
He
Yeah,
went
he
to
does.
the backyard just after lunch, brunch on Sunday.
It looks
Yeah.
like he just came back from a trip to the dump for fuck's
He was
sake.
driving his
And the Sebring's
1987
missing,
Hyundai.
See that guy in between Fitzy and myself? That's
Yeah,
a
this
guy called Nick Celebrini, and he was under the wing of Alex McKechnie, who we know at the Toronto Raptors, after he retired because of an injury, and now he's head of the Golden State Warriors medical staff.
Oh my God.
Cool.
Very
These
cool.
are some big
And then the
names
other
here.
guy on the other
Okay.
side, sorry,
Yeah.
we should give him a mention. That's Dominic Mobilio. He passed away.
Okay.
God rest his soul, but he did. He was a great lad, good player. And of course, Pierre, unless he's like Elvis or still living somewhere, I think he's gone too.
He does look like the manager of a rub and tug.
Yeah, it looks like he owns Pierre here.
Strip
It looks
club.
like he literally owns a strip club. Yeah.
He does.
That's fronted by the mafia.
Yes.
And
So
on Tuesday nights, they come collect.
Yeah, it's C-section night
pinkies.
on Wednesdays. So you've got Justin, his son. You put this up and you tagged him, and he replied, "Quote: Now that's a great photo. Thanks for sharing, Craig. I hope you all won the game after that photo was taken. Did you, or was there a game?"
Well, actually, I was just looking at another photo prior to, and they had it was a picture of the stadium, and it said Ice Tekka, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I actually thought that's the one. I thought he was referring to that, and I thought, does he think that this is an old photo? So I didn't want to embarrass him by saying, Justin, the fucking picture was taken this morning, and how do we know we won the fucking game? Right?
Dad's been dead for years.
Right. So I said, oh, nothing matters except for tonight, Mr. Prime Minister.
Yeah, that's
just a general response.
Yeah.
Yes,
and then
sir.
somebody else said, I don't think he was talking about that. And I go, well, it actually, I guess it's kind of still works. Right.
Yeah.
So then I mentioned something else. I tweeted something else to him that if he ever wanted to hear the story about how it all came about, but it was pretty fun. And
oh, dude,
God,
what a great shot!
Our leader of our country look bad.
Yeah, we want to do that, would you? Because he doesn't do it all himself, does he? But I thought, you know what? I was amazed. I'm like, my God, this is like the nicest Twitter exchange with Justin Trudeau I've seen in my lifetime.
Yeah, you're clearly not from Alberta.
You wonder, right? Yeah, if their staff are looking at, history of what I'm doing, and and have I slaughtered them somewhere down the Twitter handle, or you know what I mean?
And they let you. Okay, you can reply to him. It's fine.
Because eventually, if he does reply, and I go, suck it, Justin. Like,
yeah,
that completely defeats the purpose of the PR.
Well, listen. If you haven't got plans for the afternoon,
yeah. We got more tweets. We
wouldn't hate you after that.
Zero. No, he wouldn't. But I thought it was a really nice exchange, and I'm amazed. Like, I'll be watching this game tonight. I think it's like 8, 9 o'clock start time. Is that what time?
9:05 our time.
9:05 our time.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be watching this at home, Craiger?
You know what we're thinking about doing for the first time with Dunlop anyway tonight, doing sort of one of those viewing party things where you, just like we're doing now, watching the game, they can watch it, people can listen to our comments, get a few people together.
That's a great idea.
Are you going to do it? We'll carry it for you guys. We'll blast it out for you at the same time. All you got to do is send us the link. I think it's a fucking great idea, because I had this idea years ago to get professional athletes, former coaches, to literally do play-by-play and talk about the game while the game's going on. Fast forward to this year, Manning Cast, the biggest fucking show on the planet. You're like, I'm like, you should have done this. I would rather watch you and Brendan Dunlop, who's another soccer genius, talk about the game and I love the guys that are doing the game, but I'd rather watch you guys on my computer kind of talk about the ins and outs and what people aren't seeing, right? Instead of just
and jumping up and down, just being a fan too, right?
The Manning Cast is hilarious.
Am I going to get wasted?
Yeah.
I'm already wasted.
How about a nice indica? Maybe a nice.
No, I got to get on another show here, actually, from London, England. So.
Oh, okay. Well, dude, I'll text you. We'll talk about the stream later on. If you and Dunlop do it, I'll watch it, and we'll make sure other people do too. But I want to thank you for spending some time with us today, Craig. I really
it's my pleasure, guys. Always, you can ask me anytime. Love it, absolutely love it, and thanks for your support on everything. You guys have been fantastic.
Oh, thanks, our pleasure. Footy Prime is the podcast. James Sharman, Brendan Dunlop, Danny Dicchio, and the crew.
Nice to meet you,
go and download it anytime you want. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc. DeanBlundell.com. Footy Prime is the podcast. I love it. It's like, and you know what? If you're not familiar with the game and you want to get your foot in and listen to some guys talk about the game in a way you can understand it and have some fucking fun, and they bust each other out all the time. It's the best. Footy Prime is a wonderful, wonderful entry-level podcast for you, and they go deep too. But listen, thanks for doing this, brother. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure, guys.
Talk to you soon. Craig Forrest, ladies and gentlemen. What a fucking guy. He was, like, I remember hearing the name Craig Forrest when I was a kid. I'm like, oh, like he's an anomaly in Canada, right? Because he's playing in the Premier League. And they would report on him because, like, Canada has a soccer player. And you're
interesting
like, wow.
Perspective, though, that where he thinks the game is at. I've always thought that there was no problems with soccer, like none. Like I've been shocked since, like, when we raised the kids in St. Albert, man. Like, every soccer field every night full. Everybody plays soccer in this neck of the woods, man. I don't know about Toronto.
How many games are there in, like, MLS, like, in a season?
I have no idea.
Great question. I want to say like 15, maybe 20.
Isn't that the answer? Like, how are you going to create some sort of revenue to, like, create the marketing needed and the promotional kind of game needed in order to make it more popular on TV and everything when you only have like 15 vehicles?
34 games.
Still, like,
almost 34 game season.
Look at the sports that in our country that don't do well necessarily. Like the CFL is a good example. They do well in person, but that they're not making a killing in TV ad revenue, right?
No.
Like, Yeah.
No, they don't.
Like he was kind of explaining it, but like the details are fucked. This is the biggest sporting ticket in the country, and they're still paying to have people watch it.
Yeah, this is gonna.
I can't
doesn't have
believe
the
that.
pace that Canadian that North Americans don't like a slow paced sport. They just don't.
Well,
I think that's changing though. Like I think and you heard Craig talk about it, like the advent of TFC. We've had a couple people come in, like players from the Premier League. It's seen as a kind of a bottom feeder, but at the same time, you know, TFC draws really well. They haven't moved many, if any, MLS franchises. They're all profitable. You know, the rights that you get for watching soccer are very different than a national program team. And the national program team, people are only going to watch it if there's a chance that they're going to win. And there's a chance that these guys win every game. They're the only team that hasn't actually lost in CONCACAF qualifying. And
they're
so
they're going to need a big ticket sponsor, I think, is what it's going to be. It's going to need like a First Ontario, like a big name. Like the Scotiabank, somebody's got to take them on and like
Burrito Boys.
I think people don't watch it because look, I'm one of those dudes that watches the World Cup every single time it's on, but I don't watch any soccer in between. But when I watch the World Cup, it's not because of the pace of the game is all of a sudden really quickened and all of a sudden I love the sport. It's because I feel that there's almost a camaraderie. You know, it's like a national, like, you know, you're cheering for your country, all that kind of stuff. You get to see gigantic stadiums filled with people, and it just seems exciting for some reason. And then you flip around and you end up on a soccer game, and it's just like, I don't know, it's quiet. It would be the equivalent to watching like a neutral zone game in the NHL, really, for most of the game, and then the odd goal. Like that's how Canadians, I think, view it.
It's the lack of goals, right? We want the scoring. I think if you're talking about.
We're used to that action,
on the fringe of like
all of North America's like that.
Yeah, all of it, right? And then if we don't have scoring, if we don't have that kind of excitement, we want hitting, right? That's why football, the NFL is so big. I know way more NFL fans in this country than CFL fans. Right.
For sure.
And again, I think it's a lot of that is hype too, right? Like he did talk about how NFL is just marketing.
And CFL looks like children.
Yeah, the CFL is like watching intramural flag football, dude.
Yeah.
That's a little harsh.
I'd rather watch U.S. high school football. Like U.S. high school championship football is actually more exciting than CFL.
Yeah, I'd rather watch you walk your dog.
The ball of the CFL is like the sports equivalent to the primary.
Worst.
Probably
worst.
We're the worst Canadians.
We have such a problem,
dude. They had 1,500 people at the Edmonton Elks last game.
Hey, by the way, your fridge is open, James. By the way,
1,500.
Oh, yeah, your fridge is open.
Fridge is open, James. It just opened.
There's a tiny child probably below the counter line.
Oh yeah,
it is. I just saw the head.
Oh, okay. There we go. Fridge
ask her if she is that a boy or girl back there. Ask them if they want Uncle Dean to send him this 3.25 pound of Reese's cupcake.
Oh, he would nail that. You would annihilate that, wouldn't you?
Would you eat that? Would that kid eat that? Yeah, he would. Yeah, that's right.
Of
course he would. Whatever annihilate means.
Yeah, annihilate
means
destroy it.
You would eat it. You would eat it all. Big peanut butter cup.
Everybody.
We were talking about that earlier. My Mount Rushmore of candies.
Yeah.
Number one, this.
Okay.
Reese's peanut butter cup. It's if they said to me, Dean, I said this earlier, we're going to shoot you in the head, you get one candy. It's that one. Mm-hmm. Number two, Henry, hands down the best chocolate bar. I don't count Reese's peanut butter cups as a chocolate bar.
He's a nougat fan.
Okay.
It's like my 8th favorite.
Third, sour Coke bottles.
Oh God, those are good.
Those are good.
So good.
Have you guys had
Have
you guys had the M&Ms with the caramel in them and not the peanut?
Yes. Doesn't even crack the top 10.
Really?
Doesn't crack my top 10. No.
I'm all over those. And Score Bar and the Big Turk.
No.
Too sticky.
Big Turk?
What are you, 75?
Oh my God. That's like
700 years old.
Eat more.
Dude,
don't.
There isn't a human being on this planet that says, you know what? I need an Eat More and a Big Turk.
Yeah. Me. Once in a blue moon.
You have the palate of a 90-year-old.
Dude. Seriously.
Wow.
A Big Turk is unbelievable.
It is.
It is unbelievable. You're right about that.
So good. Yeah. You guys don't know what you're missing.
Jamesy, Mount Rushmore, quick. What are your Arrow number one? Numero uno?
It's this Arrow you can just like, you don't even have to chew it. It just goes away and it's amazing. And it's the best mass-produced chocolate, I think. There's a chocolate bar called Simply Delicious that only comes out like once a year when they use it to raise money for cancer research in Toronto. And it is like a delectable chocolate, and doesn't follow a pattern. So it's got almonds and caramel. It's called Simply Delicious. It's literally just the chocolate bar sold for cancer research. But the cool thing about it is that it's like this big.
How did I know we get a hipster answer out of him?
It doesn't follow a pattern.
I know. I was just thinking the same thing, Ryan. So annoying.
It doesn't follow a pattern, but in that, like, you don't know when the pockets of caramel is coming. You don't know where the almond is. I like that. And also like pumpkin. I'm going to change my answer from what I sent you guys because ranking is weird anyways, but pumpkin cheesecake. If you ever have a chance to eat a good pumpkin cheesecake,
that's the only way I like it.
What? Pumpkin?
No, pumpkin is if it's in a cheesecake. I won't eat a pumpkin pie, but if it's pumpkin cheesecake, I'll have like a little bit of it.
I never liked pumpkin pie, and then somebody bought one of those. Have you guys had the Costco pumpkin pie?
No. Pumpkin pie.
Okay, maybe this is an Alberta thing, but they have these pumpkin pies around the holidays, and people like rush to the Costco, and they're the size of a tire, and they sell them for like $5.
Yeah,
and it's unbelievable. It's actually, and I'm not a huge pumpkin pie fan, but if somebody is cutting up a pumpkin pie from Costco, I'm all over it. It's oddly good.
That's the weirdest
homemade pumpkin pie.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, people that are watching will start commenting on the Costco pumpkin pie. It's oddly good.
Do you want to get some support from our comment section? Here's something. This is from Army Chris. Locke eats Big Turk with that purple soap in it.
It's so good. You guys, honestly, you're losing your minds. Like you're on.
Do you chew that Thrills gum too, Locke? You like
no,
that Thrills
I'm not.
gum?
I didn't like the Thrills gum.
I like it. James, you got two more. What do you got? What do you?
Oh,
by the way, I got your Simply Delicious. That's what it looks like. I've seen that before.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, it's so good. I also think that if you get good chocolate ice cream and you layer it with like organic peanut butter, you do scoop ice cream, peanut butter, scoop ice cream, and you do that like 5-6 times, that's the bomb. Like, and by the way,
so good.
You think that weed munchies are amazing? Try like shrooms munchies, where the actual taste of the food becomes like this weird ethereal experience. It's like munchies times 10, and you eat that shit. It's great, and you can eat like a whole cow when you're on shrooms, so it's good.
You can eat that Reese pie.
Okay. Would you guys see, this is my problem. I don't like to have sweets around or anything that I would like. I have a hard time with pistachios in the house because I'll sit down and I'll eat the entire bag. Sunflower seeds, I don't buy them.
They're a superfood.
I can't stop watching. I can't stop eating them until the whole bag is gone.
Right.
But I'm telling you right now, if somebody dropped off that pie, that Reese's pie, peanut butter cup pie,
you'd eat the whole thing.
Yeah. I wouldn't be able to stop until the whole thing was gone. I'd probably throw up that night, but it wouldn't matter.
I did that the other night with you on the phone when you were making fun of me because I ate a whole lemon loaf. I couldn't stop. I was like, fuck, just more sounds great. Ryan, what's your Mount Rushmore? Tell me. By the way, your wife has chimed in. She said she dipped bacon in vanilla ice cream once. Don't judge her.
Yeah, she does. She makes those peanut butter pies. She just put that up next.
Yeah, she does.
Those are fucking insane. I love those those English ones, those Cadbury Flake bars. It's kind of like James said, where it's like takes zero effort. You just put it in your mouth and just chocolate.
I've never heard of that.
Oh, it's a British chocolate delicacy. Cadbury Flake, yellow and purple.
What does your mom think of it with the accent?
She thinks it's lovely. It's delicious.
I love it.
But if you really want a British treat, this is my all-time go-to British treat.
What the hell is that?
These are called Twiglets. That's a piece of it's like a pretzel, and it's covered in Marmite. It's the best thing you'll ever put in your mouth.
Really?
And it's good for you. Yeah. It's fucking unbelievable.
Marmite.
Sorry.
I don't know really what the fuck Marmite is. What's Marmite?
It's like Nutella, but not sweet.
It's not. No, it's not. It's not. It's like a tar. It tastes like tar. Yeah.
You ever had Vegemite?
Vegemite. That's what it is.
Vegemite. Yeah, it's bitter.
Yeah.
It's really bitter.
It's fucking horrible. It tastes
And
like roofing
so
tar.
fucking salty. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Sounds awful,
It
guys.
does.
Sorry,
You
Ryan.
guys
Go
ever
ahead.
had oh, sorry. Go.
You know those Kinder Bueno bars with the
I like
fucking
those.
the hazelnut inside, and it's got
those are
that like
good,
crispy.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
gross.
Yeah, they're okay.
Dig deep. You had a fat guy in you once.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm going for here.
He was probably more like it was.
Dude, you told me coconut cream pie with like a like a
Yeah.
fucking graham
Lime or
cracker
coconut
crust.
cream, anything that's got a graham cracker crust
You sucker for
is
it.
I've got a weakness for.
I hate coconut.
And Dean thought the cream was no good. Anything he was going to throw me out because I like cream
Chocolate
too much.
cheesecake.
See, I was never a big cheesecake guy, and I don't
Oh,
like fruit
God.
cheesecakes, but anything with chocolate or caramel in a cheesecake, and that's why I
Yeah.
said the pumpkin one was that's like my bridge. Like it's kind of healthy because it's got pumpkin in it.
Dude,
I've never
until I
I'm
done
was
that way about eating 12 carrot muffins too, and I found out that's just cake.
And I'm gonna be the biggest kiss ass because I know she's watching. Obviously now it's Ashley's banana bread for me.
Yeah,
That's it. Oh,
My
it's
wife
so
makes a
good.
banana bread, and it's fucking killer.
awesome.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah, actually,
no,
she gives them out like whenever we go, like when people come and they're leaving, she'll
Yeah.
get a banana bread, and then there's always a big fight because like the son-in-law is like leaving with one to Fort Mac, and I'm like, don't I get a fucking piece?
Yeah, give me a piece
Yeah.
of that. Does she
Yeah,
put
she
nuts
makes-
or raisins in it?
She makes it with the nuts.
You know
She
what?
makes it with the raisins, and she makes it with chocolate chips.
You know what?
sometimes.
You should tell
The
her to
wife
fucking
puts-
stop that then. Stop with the nuts.
raisins.
Stop with the fucking raisins. Stop.
There's
it.
the
no
nuts-
nuts.
the
There's
nuts and
no
chocolate
nuts in
chips
the
can stay.
banana bread, but she will. If the daughter's around,
Yeah, she
she'll
doesn't do
put
raisins.
she'll
Good.
put chocolate chips in it, and I don't hate it.
Not
I love
supposed
it.
to.
The chocolate chips
But
are okay.
yeah, the banana bread is supposed to be clean, right?
Yeah, with some butter, like a little
Yeah.
bit of butter, nice and warm.
Yeah.
Have
Right
you
out
guys
of the
ever had?
fucking oven.
Have you ever had
she'll
Christmas
put
bark?
it on the top. She'll put it on the
Christmas
top though.
bark?
Christmas
The butter.
bark,
Oh,
which
bark.
is chocolate,
yeah.
which is chocolate covered bacon.
Yes.
Oh, it's
No.
so good. Oh, it's
No,
amazing.
never heard of it.
It is
Never heard of
delicious.
it. I wouldn't eat it. I don't do the candied meats.
I don't
Never.
either.
Yeah.
I don't either. And by the way, I didn't
can
know
do chocolate
cheesecake
bacon.
didn't taste like actual cheese until I was like 29 years old. I thought it was like, why would anyone want to do that? That's disgusting. And then I ate it. I was like, oh, it doesn't taste like cheese.
It's a texture thing. Yeah.
That was me. I was the same way. I was just, that's fucking gross. Why would you want to eat that?
Right?
That's like carrot cake. I love carrot cake.
Do you
Like
really?
with the
People
icing.
avoid it because they don't like carrots or something. And I'm like,
Cream
what?
cheese icing.
missing out.
I know. I love carrot cake too with the little cream cheese icing, and the carrots count as vegetables for me. So I'm like, fuck, I'm
Yeah.
all good today. That's why I had like 10 of them, and I'm like, oh, it's all my veggies
Yep.
for the whole day because I need 10 muffins to get that much carrots in my body.
Does that ever bung you up? Like if I
Yeah,
had
all
10
the time.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Like if
yeah.
I ate an entire lemon loaf, I that would
Yeah, but I eat to shit. So like my first meal of the day is always a ton of blueberries in a shake, right? So
Yeah.
I know that I'm greasing the track, and for the rest of the day, I can kind of throw caution to the wind from time to time. Like I
Yeah.
might have
Ding
2
the
pieces
tube,
of
the
bread
tube.
with my. Yeah,
That's
I might have
why
a bunch
I
of.
found that conversation with the health girls there, the influencer.
Yeah,
Like
Miranda
I
and
found that
Vina.
so frustrating because the thing was we can have a conversation like this, right? And I don't feel guilty about falling off the rails. Like occasionally I will fall off the rails, but for the most part I eat fairly good. But you know what? I mean, every once in a while I'm going to go hog wild on a bag of chips or
Yep.
a bucket of ice cream or right?
Those are my
Yeah.
two. Those are my two vices too. It's ice cream and chips are my fucking kryptonite.
Those
have
are
you ever
mine
put
too.
them both in the same bowl?
No,
I don't even
No, it's
like
fucking
to
disgusting.
have them in the house because they literally I won't be able to go to sleep. They'll be calling to me.
Every single night before I go to bed, I take a mug, something like this, and I'll do that chocolate peanut butter thing into the top. I go through about 2 cartons of
I got
ice
a
cream
story.
every 8 days or something like that.
Are you serious?
I eat it every day. Yeah, every night. And I
got a-
haven't gained any weight in like a year. So
I got a fat Ryan story if you want to hear a good one.
Sure.
This is
Oh yeah,
I-
and then
I
I'll give
love
you
the
my
Fat
my
Ryan
worst.
stories.
I'll tell you my worst pandemic eating night because everybody's got one really terrible night, or maybe
Ashley
2.
tells
I think I know
Ashley
which one.
tells this story all the time when somebody sees a picture. Like,
Do you want some fat guy
old pic-
music?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
All
You don't have to
there you
ask.
go.
So one morning, I got up and we had corn pops, and that's my favorite cereal. I fucking love corn pops.
Is this 600-pound Lindley or is this 200-pound Lindley?
I was normal me at this point, but I was doing something that I had done back when I was 600-pound Ryan, and I took this mug and I took peanut butter and I put it in the microwave and just kind of like let it melt a little bit, and then I put corn pops in it, and I was just kind of like eating it with a spoon. And Ashley's looking at me like I had like 3 fucking heads. She's like, "What is wrong with you? What are you doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, this was a fat guy thing. When I was like really big, I would do like a whole mug. Like I only just did like a tiny bit inside the mug this time." I was like, "This is delicious. You want?" She's like looking at me like I was eating a child. Like I was watching the autopsy of a loved one or something. Like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like, "Oh yeah, this is a fat guy thing I used to do all the time, but now I don't do it anymore. But I had a craving." And
So you would make a corn pop / peanut butter stew
instead of milk. Yeah, just like warm the peanut butter, because when you warm peanut butter up, it liquefies, right? So and then you throw the corn pops in, and it just kind of it doesn't really soak it in because it's still too viscous. Peanut butter is viscous, and it won't actually penetrate the corn pop. And
that sounds fucking disgusting. Like
it's delicious. It's fucking delicious.
It's too sweet. There's too much sweet in that. You can't do all that sweet.
This wasn't during the pandemic, but I remember when I used to go to the grocery store with the girls, right? And if mom wasn't around, I'd say, "Okay, we get one thing. We get one thing that mom wouldn't let us buy, right?" Yeah. And quite often the girls would go for honeycomb. It would, because we never had sweet. We didn't let the girls have sweet cereals, right? When they were younger. But Nazi. When Dad went grocery shopping with the girls, they would let me. I would let them buy a box, right? And so we went. It was like a Saturday, and then the next morning I got up, and the box wasn't open yet. And I sat down, and I'm always up before the girls. And I ate the whole box.
Oh,
they were so pissed at me.
In one sitting, you ate a whole box. That's a lot of fucking cereal in one sitting.
A lot of milk.
I had the first one, and I ate it. Right? I'm gonna make you guys just sick, though. I don't put milk in my cereal.
I put cream.
I put cream in it.
Yeah, see, I'll do that sometimes too. Like 10%, a little bit of 10%.
Jesus Christ!
Oh yeah.
How are you still alive?
That's the way to go. Virtual high five there.
You probably do that digesting that.
Where are you?
You do cream instead of milk too, Lindley?
Not all the time, but sometimes, like as a treat, like if
like 10-15% fat, that kind of cream.
10%, because Ashley hogs the milk in this house. She's like a tea nut, right? Like she'll drink tea all fucking day. So every time I go to get a bowl of cereal, which is literally maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks now, because I'm not a breakfast guy, and I'll go get milk. There's no fucking milk, but we've got lots of coffee cream, so it's like, well, I guess we're fucking fattening up, you know.
It's
so good.
I'm a little lactose, and somebody told me that there's less lactose
in the cream.
And
you're right.
So I started drinking cream, because if I drink 2% in my cereal, my guts just go they twist.
Yeah.
Like or 1%. I don't know what it is. But cream doesn't bother me at all. So I take a bucket of cream with me to work when I have cereal at work. I had it this morning. I had Crispix and blueberries, and I pour cream on it. And Grant is just mortified by it.
Well,
and he's a fat guy.
So is this dude, APOC. His comment, Dean, is a fat guy right now. I hate Locke. He's eating like I look.
And you know what? I have there's a couple of things I do where people go, you should not be. Like, you should be 350 pounds.
Super fat. That's the grossest shit I've ever heard. I've never heard of anybody using cream instead of milk.
I've been doing it for years. My wife is mortified by it.
Yeah, I had buddies that had to use water because they were poor, but I've never heard of cream before. Like that's
oh man, I pour it right on. It's thick. It just it barely comes out of the.
If I can share one fat guy story, when I wasn't even fat, this was the last summer. I'm pretty skinny. I made like a prime rib roast that was like maybe like that, you know, and it was like with bone included, it was like I think like 2.5 pounds or something like that. And over a period of 6 hours, I just ate it all because I was on a lot of weed and mushrooms, and I just kept going back to it. I sort of grazed a 2-pound roast over a period of like 6 hours. But it was awesome. Oh, and a full onion because I had onions with it.
The fat and the grizzle too on a steak. I mean, like
fuck off.
Yeah,
just the top, just the seared part. I butterfly that out.
Yeah, the crust. I can do the crusty fat, but I can't do the.
Yeah,
I can eat.
Do you guys want me to take you through my worst night of eating? during the pandemic?
That's your. What's the Dean pandemic fat guy?
I think I remember this one.
It never ended up on the podcast.
No,
right.
This is good
because I was embarrassed.
I didn't know this one.
Don't
I haven't
be.
heard this one.
This is the one.
I just told you I drink cream on my cereal.
I heat up peanut butter and put fucking corn pops in it. Spill it.
I know it feels like a safe space now.
Yeah, that's right.
Feels like a safe space for us.
Come
So,
here. Come.
James
About a
ate
year-
half a cow in August.
True. I thought there was a prize inside. That's all.
But there is. It's called worms.
Cholesterol.
So, it was about a year ago, right before the fall, and I had just moved out, and I was on my own. No ex to tell me, really, you're gonna go back to the fridge? I'm like, fuck, I could do anything I want. Look at this guy, master of his own food domain. I'm gonna do what I want. I had a box of 40 ice cream sandwiches in the freezer.
Oh, I fucking love ice cream sandwiches.
I had 2 banana chocolate chip muffins left. I also had KFC for dinner. So listen.
God, I love this story.
It's about 9 o'clock. I ordered Uber Eats for everybody. And
you already
served
had this in the house?
all this stuff was in the house minus the KFC. But our KFC for 3 people, the order was $112.
Oh, fuck.
How much coleslaw was with that?
I'm not done. I don't eat
buckets
that
of chicken.
Yeah, I chased it with a carrot muffin. Those were my veggies. But I had like a 5-piece, and all the shit that came with it. Was I a little high? You bet.
Maybe.
I had a 5-piece. I had a chicken sandwich. I had the fries. An hour and a half later, I started having some ice cream sandwiches.
Yes.
I had 10.
You ate 10?
10. 10.
Holy
You can't stop. You can't
Not
eat
done there.
one.
About 2 hours later, I am so full, but for some reason, my mind's going, just keep going, bro. Just keep
You
eating.
didn't.
Let's go.
I finished the 2 chocolate chip muffins. Not done. About 11:30, I'm like, it's good to be me, right? I can do what I want. My kids are like, we're gonna go to McDonald's. Do you want anything? I'm like, yes, I do. I would like an Oreo Blizzard.
No.
I did the math. I had 11,000 calories that day.
Holy
Jesus.
shit.
KFC and the Blizzard are literally the 2 most filling things in fast food history.
Dirty Bird is awesome.
See, if we ever say, that's what I always say, if we're ever going to like KFC, we're having a KFC night, and we call it Dirty Bird as well. I always say, oh yeah, it's I would go home. It's chest and leg day today. I'm gonna go home and do chest and legs.
Chest and
You mean
legs.
chest
Yeah,
pain?
it's chest
And you
and
can't
leg.
stand
No,
on
I mean
legs?
breast and chicken legs. So I always say chest and leg day just to make it sound better.
Yeah.
There's we had a guy in from a band called they're called the Wild. They're from BC, and they're not I don't know how big they are across the country. Pretty like sort of aggro rock guys. They're awesome. They're a great live show. Anyway, we had Dylan the Villain on, and we were talking about Dirty Bird, and he used to work at KFC, and he goes, you know what we used to do? He said we used to get high as fuck at the end of the shift, and we would take a bunch of the skins and take it off this chicken and put it in gravy and just eat it like with the biscuits.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. That's a fat Ryan fucking Saturday night right there. That's fucking.
We had
That's Homer Simpson level.
KFC.
Fucking
I'm sorry.
KFC
I'm hard.
gravy skin soup, he said.
I'm hard right now.
Dude, I've got a group of friends. Every time we would get high and play poker, we would order 5 buckets of extra tasty crispy. No one ate the chicken. We just ate the skins. No word of a lie.
It is better, but
And I
after
had
a
a friend
couple, aren't
named
you
Matt that did the exact same thing. He would take the skin off of about 6 different pieces, and he'd just shove it in the gravy, and then he would take it out and eat the skin with the gravy.
Yeah.
That's why I was trying not to judge that woman drinking out of the
ranch
dress in Walmart pocket, because I have done shit like
fuck
that.
are we to judge?
Yeah, I have literally done shit like that and looked
Well, that's what
around.
we said.
The thing is, Dean brought up, like, I'm married, so when I have a moment of like just debauchery like that, I gotta be by myself. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Otherwise you
No.
get shit.
Never
Otherwise
get
you
laid
No,
it's
I'm
not
lucky.
shit. It's not. It's that look of disgust,
Look at
I'm lucky.
right? And
I've
it's
eaten
really
2 sleeves of soda crackers before, just to let you know. Like in one tin, just like one square.
Plain?
Everyone's done
cracker.
that.
No salted. No, but 2 sleeves.
No, but I mean, like
Maybe not
plain,
too.
like nothing on, like no peanut butter, no cheese
No.
or anything.
Just got high, didn't have anything else. So I ate that.
my
The
my
whitest thing
buddy
I've ever heard.
my buddy was living with us when I lived in Prince George. My buddy Drew, and he came. He was in between jobs or whatever. So I said, "Well, just stay with me, and you don't have to worry about rent or whatever." So we were grocery shopping together and hanging out, and good guy, but he has no self-control with food. And so we would go shopping. He'd just throw a bunch of shit in the cart. I'm like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah, fuck off." So I come home from work, and he's on the couch, and he's just got like wrappers and shit all around him. And I'm like, "What happened?" And he looked at me and he goes, "I couldn't help it." And he sat and ate a bunch of shit. But the one thing that was, what are those? Oh, Fig Newtons. He ate an entire fucking tray of Fig Newtons.
I would too.
And I'm like,
It's like
dude, I
prunes.
need to see your shit tomorrow. Like it must. He wouldn't show me, but it must have been massive.
Yeah. I didn't know there was prunes and Fig Newtons either till I had a whole box when I was like 17, and I went to, like, the next morning. My mom, I'm laying in bed, I'm like, my stomach. She's like, well, you ate an entire fucking package of Fig Newtons, you stupid bastard. And I'm like, why? What's in the Fig Newtons? She's like, figs, you fucker. And I'm like, really? She's like, yes. You're full of figs. You're figged out. You got all the figs
one
in
time
yourself.
I did get to see someone shit after a night of debauchery. We were drinking and partying, and it was one of those parties where we had, like, it was just a bunch of dudes, and we're watching fucking football and drinking too much, and we just ate everything. Like, whatever was in the house, we ate it. And I remember at one point in the night, we were eating like Wonder Bread with fucking peanut butter and jam on it, and just like we ate like 2 loaves of Wonder Bread.
There's
like
nothing
4
better
of us.
than that.
Yeah.
There's nothing
And
better
then-
than that.
In the morning, we're all
But butter,
hungover.
peanut butter, and jam, not just peanut butter.
We're all
Yeah, there has to be
hungover.
butter.
Yeah, we're all hungover, and we're just hanging out in the living room. And one of the guys comes out of the bathroom, and he goes, guys, fucking, you gotta come in here. And we're like, fuck off. He goes, no, I swear to God, you guys are not going to be disappointed. You need to come in here. And
By the way,
see
this is how guys are. This is all
It's
how
true.
all men are.
It's
So we
true.
all pile in the bathroom,
That's
and
not
it's
true.
like a ceremony, right? He's got the lid shut, and he goes, "I can't bring myself to flush it." And
It's too awesome.
he lifts the lid. The shit was literally sticking it was as big as my arm, and it was 4 inches out of the water. Like,
Number 2 podcast. Number 2.
In all of Canada.
I've never seen anything like it in my life. Like, it was like huge.
Number 2 news on the Number 2 podcast.
Jesus Christ.
I think they left it in there for like a week until someone went and pulled it out with a shovel.
I was gonna say, you need, like, that's when you get somebody get the coat hanger. What coat? The shit coat hanger. Every house had a shit coat hanger in my friend's house.
Drew, my
I'm gonna
buddy, told me
put
they
it-
tried to flush it like a day later, and it just spun around the.
I'm gonna break my own. I'm gonna break my own rule for a second and tell you a James shit story because
please, yeah.
Here we go.
And it has everything. It has testicles. It's great. When I got my operation on my hydrocele, and for those at home who don't know what hydrocele is, it's when a sac of fluid starts to form on one of your testicles and then makes your ball like really big. And so I had to go get surgery. So I got my surgery. And then when I came home, I was on morphine for like a week. And I don't know if you guys know what it's like to be on shit like that. Yeah, totally.
Oh, yeah.
And I forgot. And I had a really big appetite at that time for some reason because you're not really doing anything. You just eat and watch TV because your ball hurts. And I realized after like 5 days, I'm like, oh my God, I haven't fucking defecated. And so I went to do that. And
did you say defecated to yourself or did you say shit?
Oh, I said shit several times.
Yeah, I've never said I have to defecate in my life.
I was in the bathroom for probably 90 minutes. And my wife had to come like 4 times. I'm like, I don't know, give me a spoon. So she gave me a spoon. I'm like, I don't know, give me something sharp like a pen or a pencil. I need to start breaking away at this stuff.
It happens.
And then when it finally came out, it was like, my last item that I had to request was, I'm like, just don't ask any questions and bring me a plastic bag. I didn't dare flush it.
You had to pull it out of the.
I had to pull it, dude. Like at that point, I was like,
impressive.
You had to coax it out.
Coax. I had to try to wedge the spoon between it and my body so that I could pry it out. Like.
You pried the shit out of yourself?
You know what the weird part was?
Crowbar the turd out of your own rectum?
And you know what the weird part was? Not that that's all not fucking weird, but the weird part was it was like dry. Like hamster shaving dry. But it was solid. And it was like that forearm thing. And it honestly, it felt like I spent the weekend in prison or something. Like it was.
I have no idea how that guy got that shit out of him. Like I swear to God, it was like that. Like
some of those hurt.
Yeah. Anyways, send your
We've
love.
been there. We've been there. Since, by the way, since that night where I had 11,000 calories and hours. By the way, that's a food eating contest. I have.
You were up against nobody.
No. It was like, like Lachlan, like with men do this when their wives aren't around.
Yeah.
And when I deep sixed my ex, that sounds terrible. See you later. I was like, honest to God, in my mind, I was like, 2 things I could do. Anything I want, eat anything I want. No one's going to say a fucking word to me. But there was that point a year ago where I grossed myself out. And I'm like, I can't keep doing this. This is not like, because I can, doesn't mean I should keep doing it.
Are you like a good eater? Like, could you be in eating
generally
contest?
Speaking, yes.
So
not in an eating contest. No,
like volume. Yeah.
No.
See, I've actually been in a couple, and I've been told that I could be good at it.
You've got chops.
Yeah, I've done I did a taco eating contest. I told you that story. That night I shit my pants in bed.
Yeah.
But we went to. They have these like tomahawk steak nights at the brew house in Edmonton, and we occasionally will get invited. So Jimmy, Grant, and I went down. Jimmy's not a big eater. I mean, he's little, right? But I can eat, and Grant can eat as well. And they bring these fucking 30-ounce fucking tomahawk steaks with the big bone on it. Yep. And then they have, and it's like $25. It's like cheap too. And then they have like a potato and a bunch of vegetables. And we sat down and we started eating, and I did okay, but I mean, I finished the meat and had a bit of the potato and had some of the vegetables, but there was still a lot of food left on my plate. And these 2 girls sat down beside us. And they were bigger girls, right? But nothing exceptional. Like they weren't like 400 pounders.
It didn't look like they drank ranch right out of the bottle, or
no. And these 2, I think they might have been a couple. They sat down and it looked like they were there on a mission. And they the 2 girls, and we were so embarrassed. I'm like, we gotta leave. Like I can't be in the same room with these people. They crushed. And when we decided to pull up stakes, they were like asking for the dessert menu, and I'm like, we got to get the fuck out of here. We just embarrassed ourselves.
There was a place in Toronto like that. Dean might remember, as the Le Biff Tac. It was by the airport.
Oh yeah,
and
I used to work there.
Oh, did you? Yeah. Okay, so you remember they had that 32-ounce steak prime rib dinner with the garlic mashed potatoes and the veg. And then what the joke was, they said, if you can finish your plate, we'll give you your dessert for free. Well, the dessert was included. And my brother and I used to go.
I ate so many of those desserts.
We ate and we ate and we ate and we ate so much that we couldn't drive home. Like, we were in Hamilton, we were in Toronto.
Now, is this 600-pound Lindley or 200-pound?
This was on his way.
So 500-pound Lindley.
Well, probably like
up
more
is
like
the best
350. My brother's about the same, but my brother's 6'8". Like, my brother's a tall guy,
Big
right?
dude.
So he carries it. He carried his weight a little
He
better.
carries his 600 pounds better.
Yeah. So we ate so fucking much.
It's all in how you carry it, really.
We couldn't drive. Like, I'm not driving an hour on the QEW back home. Like,
That's when you know you ate too much. Is when you're like,
so
guys, I probably shouldn't get behind the wheel.
we called somebody. And we said, bring somebody else to drive our car home. Somebody come drive us home because we can't fucking drive. And
I don't understand that though. Is that like a bit? Or
So
you
uncomfortable.
why can't you drive?
No, because we were so full and so uncomfortable that it was one
I've
of those.
done that
I had
with
to- I had to
alcohol
lay.
a lot.
One was laid in the back seat, and one's laid like with the seat all the way back, just to keep your gut go. It was so fucking bad. And then, by like 3 or 4 hours later, you're okay. But yeah, no, I couldn't. There was no fucking way. I'm not sitting in a parking lot for 3 or 4 hours waiting for my dinner to digest.
So I have a question for you, and then we'll start to wrap it up, Lindley, because I just bore my disgusting worst night of eating in the history of worst night of eating, and you said you used to be 600 pounds. Like, have you ever eaten something where someone's gone, yeah, that shouldn't be possible, but I know he's 600 pounds, but that's crazy.
Yeah, it would have been like a, like when they have like game, like when NFL promotions on any fucking pizza place, like game night, you got all your buddies coming. I didn't have any buddies coming over. I would just get game night dinner and eat the 2 pizzas, eat the fucking wings. If it came with a garlic bread, that went too.
Can I get the family feast?
On the phone? Did you lie to the chick where you're like, did you go like this? Yeah, I'll have the game night.
Guys, keep it down.
Pizzas.
Guys, please.
Yeah. And you're like,
Are you
these
sure you
guys
want
are
that much
crazy,
food,
and there's
everyone?
no one behind you. And you're like, hang on a second. They want double pepperoni. Did you get the double pepperoni?
God, you're
That's
such
what we
a
want.
pig, Ma.
Fuck you guys. All right. Yeah. Anyway, sorry about all
No, it
these
wasn't,
people that are going to eat all that food.
It wasn't the people on the phone. It was always the ones that would come to, because back then I lived in an apartment, so there was no hiding anything. So when the pizza guy came to the door, you open the door and there's nobody behind you, and you can see that. And he's like this little, and it's the same guy, by the way. I got to know this guy because I'd see him all the time.
Yeah.
This little Indian guy. He'd be like, have a good night, and he'd hand me this big fucking pile of food. But
You didn't
it's
need
crickets.
to do the accent, by the way.
Yeah, no, it's
We
crickets
understood that
behind
when
you.
you
The
said the Indian guy.
Apu rule is in effect.
Yeah, no, and the it was crickets. There's nobody behind me.
Well, it's embarrassing. Like when you know you've got, because I got this dude, APOC, who's like upset because he's currently fat, and he's like, "Oh, that's that's the wrong one." Dean, no, this is a great comment. He's like, Dean, do you find that you can control your eating like that based on how you control your drinking? Is it similar for you? Very similar. Yeah, it is. It's like, oh, well, if I do that, I'm going to feel like shit, so I won't do that. But I don't know what. But
yeah, I'm the other way around.
Introduce a 5-gram joint, and I'm like, what is that again? I forget it. I'm just going to drink.
Well, I think if you have, like, I have an addictive personality, so it just moves around from one thing to the next, right? Like,
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
But
like,
it's easier
tonight,
for me now because I know that
booze.
But what after that night that I had where I was eating, woke up with a headache, and I had to shit for 3 straight days.
Yeah,
it's got to come out, right?
Yeah,
It's gonna go somewhere.
In segments.
I almost called James to bring a crowbar to help me jimmy it out.
I have never heard of anybody having to pry a shit out of them.
mine. I retired mine. I literally threw it in the bag with everything else, and I walked out of the bathroom. I'm like, I don't want to ever talk about this.
Did your asshole
Until I
leak
get
for
on
like a week after that shit?
It hurt for about a couple hours, but that's a long time in ass hurting terms.
They bounce back pretty quick, that ring.
Yeah. Like there was no prolapse or anything like that. But,
No.
Oh, the anus is incredibly resilient.
Bring me a spoon.
It reiterated my like the knowledge that I have, the deep knowledge that I have that I never want anything going up there was punctuated that day because it's very uncomfortable to have things sliding in and out of there. Like
that's why they have butt plugs that get you to the point. Like,
I don't want to get to that point. Why would anyone want to do that?
Yeah, it's an edging for your asshole. So
I don't understand the anal thing.
You start with the small one and then you move up, right?
The big one. That's where poo comes from.
Yes. And then if you're really good at it, you get to the Lachlan size one.
The fist.
Wow, it's pretty
I am
cool
not
in here.
Hold
Look
on.
what you've done with the place.
Let's pump the brakes on this. I am not an ass guy. I don't have a collection of butt plugs.
Okay.
Yeah.
You seem to know a lot about it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I just didn't say you did. It's
very
the
well
name
versed
for the
in
biggest
this.
one is very conveniently the same name that you have. You can do a small, medium, or the Lachlan.
Imagine a butt plug's name was Phil. That'd be kind of cool.
Anyway, I feel like we've done some good work here.
We did.
Talked about soccer, talked about food, talked about...
Then we found out that
we did
James had
that
to
we
pull
said
the
we were
shit
going
out
to
of
do. This is
himself with a
great.
plastic spoon.
I lost 6 pounds that day.
We had so many good ideas for today's show.
Yeah, we did. And I got them for tomorrow still.
None of them.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we'll get none of it.
We'll get to PK Subban and we'll get to how you can identify Russian bots. That's tomorrow. That is James DiFiore. That is Ryan Lindley. That is Lachlan Cross. Guys, appreciate you all. Ryan's, of course, the host of the Sheeple Shepherd podcast. You can get it wherever you get your podcast. Jamesy is the host of Blackballed, the podcast, and go to blackballmedia.ca for all the things that Jamesy does. And
December 9th, Noam Chomsky interview number
Noam
2.
Chomsky,
Probably
December 9th?
Probably the last interview I'll ever do with him, so we make it count.
Well, I'm surprised you got the first one.
I hope he's not dead between now and December 9th.
I was just going to say.
But if he does die December 10th,
hopefully he doesn't.
Kind of funny.
And don't forget, if you... You will.
Finally.
Noam's last interview was with this guy.
Who?
Who recently pulled a 6-pound log of poo out of his bum.
You should send him that and say, well, this is the kind of stuff we're talking about. Send him the last 10 minutes of the show. Yeah, he'll love it.
Remember when I was afraid?
Yeah,
I know. He's going to watch this and cancel the interview.
Oh, yeah. Dude, he was going to interview Noam Chomsky the first time. And he's like, can you guys take it easy with the promos? Because they're really rude. And Noam Chomsky won't do the interview with me.
I'm pretty sure Noam's
if he
not
thinks I'm
listening
rude
to this podcast. I'm just
he thinks I'm a rude
guy.
guy.
It was a
legit Noam's going to go through and look for your podcast. Or this one.
That's not very nice. You never know. Actually, he barely goes online. So.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, Lachlan Cross, 95.7 Cruise FM in Edmonton is where you can listen to him. Morning show host of The Locker Room. Thanks, guys. Great to see everybody here.
Thanks,
today.
guys.
See you too.
You guys are fucking amazing. Have a good night.
Tomorrow. You too.
Good night, guys.
There you go, lads. Thank you very much, Ryan. Thank you very much, James. Thank you very much to you. And you, and you, and you. Pierogies and Caesar salad tonight, by the way. Last night was Korean ribs. Tonight's pierogies and Caesar salad. Night before that was jalapeno sausages from seed2sausage.ca. They don't pay us. I just love their products, and you will too. Anyway, thanks for being part of the show, and thanks for joining us. Thanks to Craig Forrest. Don't forget, Team Canada tonight, 9:05. Team Canada, Mexico, go Canada. We're going to win, qualify for the World Cup. And I want to thank our sponsors, Easy Auto Financial. Easy Auto Financial gets you in a car. They take care of your financing as well. Go to easyautofinancial.ca today. No obligation, no cost associated with it. If you're having a hard time with financing and having a hard time finding a car, these guys do everything. They won't turn you away, and it's free. easyautofinancial.ca. Check them out today. Across Canada, by the way. And want to thank our sponsors at Domination, domination.com. If you do content, you want to make it easier to produce promos, etc., go to dmntn.com. Try them today for free. Doesn't cost you time to try them. So might as well try them. And it's super inexpensive to get on their schedule as well. So make sure you give them a try. dmntn.com. Gaming, streaming, podcasting, and more. Save hours. Get hundreds of pieces of content from one file. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then it doesn't matter. It's that easy. And Ed's Fine Imports in his Gitch. Thanks, Ed. Appreciate you. And your underwear. We wear them all the time. You can too. Guys, luxury underwear, boxer briefs, pouch in the front. Order from Ed's today. He'll send them to you You don't need to shop there, but you can. edsfineimports.com is the website. Again, edsfineimports.com. Clothing for men and boys. He's got it all in his signature underwear. Gitch, Gitch, Canadian made. They're perfect. Perfect men's underpants. edsfineimports.com. Promo code GITCH3. He'll send you 4 for the price of 3 when you buy 3 today. Thanks for being a part of the show. And sign up for a newsletter at the website, deanblundell.com. We'll send all this stuff to you. Don't forget, you can get us on YouTube, Dean Blundell Show, iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, wherever you get your audio podcasts, and, of course, Twitch. Dean Blundell Show on Twitch. If you could follow us on Twitch, that would mean a lot. And if you could follow us on YouTube, that would also mean a lot. Maybe leave a nice comment. That'd be nice, too. Let's just be nice to each other. Have a great day. Thanks, all. See you soon. Bye.